Okay, here's a question for you. What if some of the things that you experience in life have meaning and you just haven't yet realised that meaning? A few years ago, when I was doing a reading for a lady during a soul guidance reading, her daughter's spirit guide made contact with me. Now, her daughter was still a teenager at the time, but her spirit guide showed me that this young woman had come into incarnation into the human body to work with the human body to help facilitate rehabilitation of it. Specifically, I was shown that she was going to help people to regain their mobility. Now, I remember her mother at the time, who was the lady I was actually doing the reading for, telling me that that would really suit her daughter. And she'd often wondered if she was going to become something like a physiotherapist or something, because her personality was leaning towards that way naturally. She'd noticed it from a child, that she was very caring towards other people and always wanting to help them, particularly with their health. She took a big interest in it from very young. Now, the guides then went on to show me that this beautiful young teenage daughter, she had her own physical mobility issues when she was younger. And in fact, her mother confirmed that she'd had a curvature of the spine. And then the reading went somewhere even deeper, which is what I love about soul guidance readings, because the guides showed me that this young lady had a previous lifetime where she had fallen from a horse, and it had resulted in her being disabled and immobile in that life. She'd needed the help of other people around her, so her soul knew what it meant to be vulnerable and to be reliant on someone else's loving care. So this message from her spirit guide, the daughter's spirit guide, was absolutely fascinating, because in that lifetime, this lady, my client's daughter, had needed the support and the help. And what the guides were showing me is she'd come back in this lifetime. The same conditions in the soul field had kind of built around her, resulting in her having a much lesser experience of pain and suffering with the curvature in the spine, but that it was enough to trigger her soul remembrance, if you like, that she'd come in to help other people this time regain mobility, because in that prior lifetime, she understood what it meant to be living without it. She wanted to come in and experience the other side of the coin, being able to help others regain their mobility, because in the times before, there wasn't the knowledge to help with that. Now, whether you're watching this and you're understanding this through the lens of reincarnation, or you're just curious about the story and you want to question it, that's absolutely fine. But it does leave me with the wondering anyway about, what if all experiences that we have that we might deem to be negative, nevertheless are full of meaning? This is why I don't focus solely anymore on communications purely from deceased loved ones to bring evidence for the survival of consciousness after physical death. I allow the spirit guides to come in. I allow this deeper knowledge to come in, because it can give us understanding that we wouldn't necessarily have gleaned otherwise. And of course, loved ones often come through with that evidence of consciousness surviving physical death, and that is profoundly healing. It'll always be part of my work. But I also want to listen to the spirit guides that walk with you and are around you, because they can bring through insight, profound wisdom and information that is relevant to you, that isn't purely about somebody else's passing, and includes information about your life now, because I truly believe that any spiritual insight we gain, any spiritual practice we put into place needs to be grounded. It needs to be relevant today. How is that information going to help us to live more fully here now? That's the question. So that's what I mean by soul mediumship, soul guidance readings, that added depth that you can't just get by focusing on trying to provide evidence for the survival of consciousness after death. I mean, I think it's fascinating. I wouldn't want to limit myself anymore. I love the way the spirit guides have taken my own soul mediumship forward.